Highland show, which will be showing here in Ring 2 of the large arena. We are going to start this show with class number 238, Junior Heifer Calves. March in age, I show a single entry.
We are ready to start our overall selection of our prospect beef animal at this time. Your champion prospect heifer was exhibited by Ella Patranton. This heifer weighed in at 830 pounds. Your champion steer was exhibited by Toby Mays and weighed 740 pounds. Devontae Rarick exhibited your reserve champion prospect heifer weighing 655. And Allison Pajak exhibited your reserve champion steer, and that weighed in at 670 pounds. We are now going to select your champion and reserve champion prospect beef.
This is a really interesting class when you get in here, and you know, we do the market steers against the prospect heifers, and you kind of come through, and I think we still have a lot of similarities in type. You know, all four of these are really, really sound, and they're really good in their own right. You know, they're a little bit different, and I think that the heifer that I used to win the prospect heifer deal, I think she's got a really good future in the breeding heifer ring, to be honest. So I think she's really, really good. And then we've got two steers that I think just pattern together so well, and they're so good. You know, I'm going to keep them together. I'm going to keep our champion and reserve steers as our two supremes. But young lady, I think that heifer has a really, really good future in the breeding heifer ring. So this will be our overall champion supreme, and the steer will be our reserve.
Congratulations to our steer exhibitors, Toby Mays with Grand Champion Prospect Beef Animal, and your reserve overall went to Allison Pajak. Thank you very much. This does conclude our preview show. If you would like a quick backdrop picture with our judge, please head that way. We are going to start lining up our Junior Market Beef PA Farm Show preview animals. We are looking for class 1, 2, and 3 to the makeup area to be lined up.
Over here with the start of our Highland show, a single entry, a really nice calf that's very sound as she gets about the ring, very level out through her rump. I think she has a great future ahead of her, and we'll talk about her some more when we get into some of the champion classes a little bit later. A really nice heifer to start our show with.
Congratulations in first place. In class 238 of our Highland show goes to entry number 1867. That is Mary Hughes of Piney, exhibited by Piney Highlands. Now we should have class 239. These are junior heifer calves, January and February in age. Tension in the barn.
Okay, if you go ahead and pull that first heifer out so people can see her. Okay, I think for me anyway, this class starts out with a real logical first place heifer. That's a very complete female. She's very sound structurally, both on the front and the rear end. She's very level on her top. She's got some thickness down her top and is very level out through her quarter. Very, very sound female as she gets out and goes. I think that's important. To me, the most important thing is in terms of the structure, and combined with that, she has some rib shape to her. I think she's a real productive female. I really like those things about her. The young lady that's second in class is given up a little bit in terms of power and rib shape to the first heifer. One advantage she does have is she's a bit more extended through her front end. She has a much longer neck. Really like the way that neck ties into the top of the shoulder, and she gets out and goes very sound as well. Not quite as much to her as the first heifer. The black heifer that comes in third, I think certainly you appreciate the depth of body that she has. That's very impressive. The thing for me with her, as she walks away, I'd like to change her on her hind legs. She really doesn't handle her hind legs as well as the heifers ahead of her, and that to me is a big difference. The heifer that concludes our class certainly has some rib shape to her and some muscle. She's off just a bit on her hind legs as well. I'd like to just kind of change the angle a bit. She takes kind of a short step off of those hind legs, but nice class of heifers. Really like the female that wins the class.
First place in Class 239 of our Highland Show will go to entry number 5640. That is Storybrooke Run This Town, exhibited by Montana Medina. Second place will go to entry number 5732. That is Kesabee's Rouge Ambition, shown by Kelly Morris. Third is 1862, shown by Piney Highlands. Fourth is entry number 3485, also shown by Piney Highlands. We're now ready to select our junior heifer calf champion and reserve. From Class 238, we have entry number 1867, and from 239, entry number 5640. Our reserve will stand as entry number 5732.
For this calf division, we're going to go with the older heifer to be the calf champion. I think she just has a bit more to her in terms of her rib shape, and they're both really good heifers from a structural standpoint, the way they move. I just think from a brood cow potential, I like the older heifer just a bit. The younger heifer certainly has a good future. Not quite as good up through her neck as the heifer that wins the older class, but a really nice pair of heifers. Congratulations to the champion.
Congratulations, and Junior Heifer Calf Champion will go to entry number 5640. That is Storybook Runs This Town, a February 19th, 2025 female sired by Sky High Gibraltar and exhibited by Montana Medina. And reserve is entry number 1867. That is Mary Hughes of Piney. She is a March 22nd female, sired by Highland Spice Hickory and exhibited by Piney Highlands. We are now ready for Class 245. I show 2 entries.
This class of females, we're going to go with the red heifer to win the class. I think she's a bit more sound, especially off those hind legs, than is the black heifer. Really like her balance. She's very level from hooks to pins. Really appreciate her when she's on the move. She covers her track really well, and I think is a very sound female. This black heifer, when you evaluate her and she's walking away from you, she's off just a bit on those hind legs, but certainly has some real positive things about it in terms of its body makeup, its rib shape. Just prefer the stoutness and soundness of the female that wins the class. Thank you.
Results of Class 245 Intermediate Yearling Heifers. First place will go to entry number 5636. That is Sky High Moon, exhibited by Montana Medina. And second place goes to entry 1868, shown by Piney Highlands. And they will also be champion, intermediate, and reserve division animals as well.
I think over on the market side, we've got a really practical steer that he's just a single entry, and he could definitely stand a lot more competition. He's super sound. He's got ample muscle. I think one that's ready, and I think one that's just very, very practical and a very easy feeding looking type of steer. So I think a really, really nice one to start off this division.
Welcome back here to our junior market cattle side of the show ring. We are in our Pennsylvania Farm Show division. In the ring, just leaving, we had Jolie Naylor showing the first class. In comes Class 2. We have 3 entries. These steers are weighing 1235, 1220 to 1235. We have one more class of preview steers, and then we will select your champion. Again, PA Farm Show preview steers are in the ring.
In our Highland ring, we are showing Class 248 junior yearling heifers. These females will also compete as junior yearling female and reserve.
This particular class, we're going to go with the red heifer. I think she's much more sound as she's on the move. She's wider from hooks to pins as well. Really like the rib shape she has in her. Stands on a little more bone as well. Black heifer's a bit longer bodied. Certainly appreciate that about her. But as you evaluate that female, especially on the move, she gets a bit narrow from behind, and she really doesn't have the rib shape, the spring and openness of rib that we have in that first heifer. But it's certainly a heifer that has a lot of length of body that you need to appreciate.
Results of Class 248, congratulations in first place, and also champion junior yearling heifer will go to entry number 4885. That is T.C. Neffeli. She is a February 6, 24 female, sired by Zeus of Swains, exhibited by Matthew Cross. Second place in reserve in that division is going to be entry number 4314, Howling Springs Lady Raven. She is a March 20th, 24 female. She is sired by Howling Springs Baron of the Bull and exhibited by Ashlyn Morelli. We now have in the ring Class 251 senior
Looks like
heifers.
we have a single entry over here in the Highland side. Heifer that could certainly stand some competition, very sound female, got some rib shape to her, gets out and goes extremely well. We'll talk about her a little more later.
First place in that class in our Highland show will go to entry number 4318. That is Howling Springs Forest, exhibited by Beshka Morelli. We now need Class 252. That's senior heifers, January to April.
I think a real powerful steer that we use to lead off this class. I mean, from a bone and muscle and overall power, I think we got the market steer here that really does that in spades. You love his lower quarter. He's explosive in through that hip. He's a calf that structurally he's really, really good. Really ties in well in through that blade, in through that loin, up in through that hip. And you know, for some of the bells and whistles, he does really give you a really good look. Would I soften him just a touch in his flank? You know, from an easy feed and practicality standpoint, maybe. But he's got here, and he's really long-sided, really explosive, really sound, and gives you good look. I think a really powerful one here. Then we get into a real practical kind of steer coming in next, this black steer. I mean, he's really, really good in his flank and in through his underline. You know, he doesn't have quite the bone or explosiveness of muscle when you get in over his hip and in through his width, the base. But from an overall balance perspective, this steer really, really does that well. He looks like he was pretty practical and easy feeding and gives you a nice degree of muscle, and I think he follows in here really nicely. Then we get into the gray steer here. He probably, from a muscle perspective, he probably follows our class winner a little bit more, but where he comes apart a little bit is on the move. You know, he doesn't quite handle his structure quite as well as the top two calves above him, but from a loin, top, hip, and muscle shape perspective, this steer does that really, really well.
Over here on the Highland side, we're going to start the red heifer. This is a really good female. She holds herself together extremely well. She's got some shape to her top line. She gets out and goes, certainly on a good circumference of bone. She's very correct the way she's made. She moves well. That's a pretty darn good female right there, I'll tell you what. And take nothing away from the gray heifer. She just kind of got in a tough class. It's also a good female, very sound the way she gets about the ring. Just not quite as balanced as a female in front of her. Certainly be the first to admit she's probably a tick longer bodied. Just doesn't have the power that female that wins the class has, but two really nice females.
Results of Class 252 in the Highland show. First place, We'll go to entry number 4313. That is Howling Springs Donatella, exhibited by Ashlyn Morelli. Second place is going to entry number 5636, Sky High Moon, shown by Montana Medina. We will now select our champion senior heifer and reserve.
Okay, if for those of you that watched the Highlands so far, there's probably not a lot of doubt in my mind which one's going to win. This heifer right in front of me is going to be our champion of this particular division. I think she just overpowers the other two heifers. Really like her a lot, the way she's made, the thickness she has to her, the rib shape she has, how sound she is. She has a good foot size. She has some bone underneath her. Very attractive female. Take nothing away from the other two. The young man with the other class winner will be the reserve champion in this particular division. Really good heifer to win.
Attention in the show ring. Results of our results of Class 2 preview show. First went to Jolynn Mickle, second to Kaylin Hahn, and third to Gabriella Jacobs. In the ring now, we have Class 3. These steers are weighing 1265 to 1305. While our judge finishes up here, we want to remind all preview steer exhibitors, farm show exhibitors, junior market heifer and junior market steer exhibitors, that there is a sonogram contest for all of you out in the area after the entry here into the ring. The payout is $500 for first, $250 for second. Doesn't take long to do that sonogram, and the payout is well worth it.
I think a really, really powerful one that comes to the top of this class that I can really latch on to. I mean, he's really, really sound, really handles that top well on the move. And, you know, interestingly, he actually handles his top a little better on the move than he does in the stand right there. But he's really good looking. He transitions really well from that chest floor back in through his flank. He's really stout when you get behind him, wide based, lots of bone in him. And I think just a really, really good, powerful one to lead off this class. Then we get into a calf that's coming in here next. I think he follows most as far as type and kind, just not quite the shot of muscle that our top calf does. When you get handling him, he's a touch soft in his finish, but I think one that's likely been really easy feeding as you go along, and I think he's sound enough, just not quite the muscle and quite the look that our top steer has. Then we get the white steer here in third. I mean, he's a big hip calf when you get in behind him, and you really like that about him. He's got ample top in him. He doesn't transition quite as well from that blade, that heart girth, in through that shoulder, not quite as well as the top steers above him did, not quite as soft, but I think a good long-sided, big hip kind of a steer coming in here third.
Congratulations to Class 3 prospect farm show steers. First went to Maggie Johnson, second to Maggie Johnston, and third to Owen Jacobs. At this time, we're going to bring in our 3 class winners and seconds to select our champion and reserve champion junior farm show market beef. From Class 1, we have Jolynn Mickle, steer weighing in at 1235. From our second class, we have Kaylin Hahn with a steer weighing, from your second class, we have Jolynn Mickle with a steer weighing 1235. And from our last class, we have Maggie Johnston with a steer weighing 1305. Seconds include Kaylin Hahn and Maggie Johnston.
Results of Class 252 in the Highland Show. First place went to entry number 4313, and second place to entry number 5636. Results of the Champion Senior Heifer Drive. Champion Senior Heifer was entry 4313, that is Howling Springs Donatella, exhibited by Ashlyn Morelli. And reserve was entry number 4318, that is Howling Springs Forest, shown by Beshka Morelli. Now in the ring, we are selecting our champion and reserve champion Highland females. In the ring, our junior heifer is entry number 5640. Our intermediate is entry number 5639. Junior yearling is entry number 4885. And our senior yearling female is entry number 4313. Our reserve line in order will stand as 1867, 1868, 4314, and 4318.
I think a really nice class in here for our preview division farm show championship here, and I think with that I'm gonna go select a couple that I really gravitate to. I think it's really solid right through. I think we got big-ended, stout, muscular type of steers that are sound, but obviously there's a couple here that I can really latch onto through these classes. And with that, I'll select my champion reserve, and I think there's two really exceptional ones out here, but it's been a strong division right through.
Over on the Highland side, it's my pleasure to evaluate the Highland cattle today. I think we've seen some really interesting females and several of them that have some tools that can be used in a breeding program depending upon what you're trying to do. If you've been watching, obviously I haven't built the suspense a lot to who's going to win. But I'm going to go ahead and select the champion, and then I'll take a quick look and decide on which one's going to be the reserve. So let's put our hands together and congratulate the Highlands exhibitor.
Results from our Pennsylvania Farm Show Junior Market Beef Division. Your champion PA Farm Show Junior Market Beef exhibitor was Maggie Johnston out of Class 3, and that steer weighed in at 1305. Your reserve champion PA Farm Show Junior Market Beef was exhibited by Jolyn Mickle. We are going to take a few pictures, and then we are going to be moving into the Junior Market Heifer Show.
Congratulations and grand champion female in our Highland show will go to entry number 4313. That is Howling Springs Donatella, an April 25th, 23 female sired by Von Sandomir and exhibited by Ashlyn Morelli. Our reserve is going to be entry number 4318. That is Howling Springs Forest, a September 29th, 23 female sired by Howling Springs Natural Mystic and exhibited by Beshka Morelli. Congratulations. Now in the ring, we should be ready for Class 263 Junior Bull Calves in our Highland show. I apologize. We need class number 264, Junior Bull Calves, January and February in age.
Interesting class. 3 bull calves we have in this particular class. I think there's some give and take. I don't think any one of them just has everything you'd like to put together. I think the bull that wins the class is the most complete of the 3. I think that certainly in terms of his structure as he gets around the ring, I think he does that as well as any of them. I think he, without question, is the deeper bodied of the 3 bulls. I think he's a bit leveler out to his rump. I really like those things about him. To be honest with you, I wouldn't say that any of them are dead right the way they push off of their hind legs, but this one is the best of the 3. And again, I think he's the most complete bull. That's why he wins this particular class. The next calf in line, I think, has that extra muscle shape that we like to see, especially in the hind quarter. But I think you can see comparatively, he he gives up a lot in terms of depth and openness of rib of that bull that wins the class. But like the bull in the front, I think he gets out and goes pretty well. The bull that we conclude the class with, there's some things about him you like in terms of extension up through his front end, and I think he has some length to him. When you get behind him, he gets a little bit narrow behind as he puts his feet down. I don't really like that about him. But certainly in terms of extension through the front end, you appreciate those things. But really, again, some give and take. I think the most complete bull wins the class.
Results of Class 264 Junior Bull Calves, January and February. First place, ghost entry number 4317, Howling Springs Oldham, exhibited by Beshka Morelli. Second place, ghost entry number 1864, that's PTN Boy Named Sue, exhibited by Piney Highlands. And third place is entry number 5489, shown by Beshka Morelli.
Welcome back to our junior market shows. We currently have junior market heifers in the ring. This first class has one entry. This market heifer is weighing 1095.
I think
Just a single entry.
just one
this
in this
particular
market
class,
heifer.
a really attractive bull.
Class.
Has some depth to him. He moves about the ring, I think, quite adequately. Bull that has, again, some openness in his rib. He's level out from hooks to pins. A nice bull, I think, has some potential to be a good breeding bull in the future.
Congratulations to Cheyenne Bulliard. She was first in Class 1 and also your champion lightweight market heifer. Junior market heifers Class 2, walking in the ring, we have 3 entries weighing 1,200 to 1,250 pounds.
Just one market heifer in this first class, but I think a really, really good one. I mean, you got one. She's really pulled apart and extremely wide base. She's really big in her top. But you put her in motion, and she really handles that top really well from that shoulder blade through her loin and hip. She's really, really good there. She looks easy feeding and the right type, super sound. I think just a really, really good one that could have stood a lot more competition in this class.
Results of Class 267 in the Highland Bull Show. First place was 4316, Storybrook Nightmare, shown by Beshka Morelli. We are now ready for Class 276, Senior Bulls.
Now we have Class 2 junior market heifers in the ring weighing 12 to 1,250 pounds. This will also be your champion and reserve champion middleweight market heifer.
Another single entry, lighter colored bull. Certainly got some good things about him, like his rib shape. It's a good up-headed bull. We'll talk about him some more later. Another single entry in the Highland show, a bull that's got a little more age, and you can start seeing he's really starting to look like a breeding bull. Certainly like his testicular development. He's a bull that's on a good foot size, got some rib shape to him, and a bull with, I think, a good amount of length. He's very level out from hooks to his pins. I think a bull with a lot of potential.
Real powerful heifer here to lead off this class in the market heifer show, and I think one that she's really big top, she's big hip, she's got a lot of muscle shape to her, but she's really good in her underline, like from her chest floor and carries it back in through that flank. She's really, really good. Good bone, she's stout, wide based, and yet really gives you a nice trim look, really good in her chest floor, and I think one that it'll be interesting when we pull these market heifers back. I think this one can really stand a lot of heat. Get into the second place heifer here. She would actually trend to me. She's got a little bit more of a breeding heifer look to her. Doesn't have quite that muscle and terminal look to her that our heifer that led off the class with. You'd give her a shot, more lower quarter, expand her up over top, a little shot more muscle, but one that's sound and easy feeding, and I think she'll grade really well. Then we get into a little more muscular heifer in third, and I mean, she does trend more to a market heifer. I think she'll be a high cutability type of female. There's a lot of muscle shape to her. From a structure standpoint, she'll come apart a little bit. When you set her in motion on the move, she'll pop that loin, pop that top, and just come apart a little bit when you pull her, when you set her in motion from a structure and overall standpoint.
Another single entry class in our show over here. This bull's definitely looking like a breeding bull. He gets out and he goes. He moves on a good amount of circumference of bone, has a good foot size, very long-bodied, level rump bull. Really like the way he gets out and goes and covers his track. I think he's a very sound bull. He's got a lot of potential as a breeding bull moving forward.
On our junior market beef side, congratulations to your champion middleweight division winner, KILE Lippert from Class 2, and Hunter Brocious with his reserve champion middleweight division heifer. In the ring now, we have Class 3, Sydney Skinner exhibiting a market heifer weighing 1325.
Well, another really, really good one that could really stand a lot more heat. I mean, this heifer is extremely explosive in through that lower quarter. Her width, the base, and her bone work is really, really good. You get up over the top of her, she's extremely good in through that loin, up in through that blade. Great in her chest floor that carries right back through that flank. She handles well, and I think one that it'll be really interesting to pull all these class winners back into this market heifer division, because we've got an exceptional one here that I think could stand a lot of heat, so it'll be really interesting getting them back, but congratulations.
Congratulations to Sydney Skinner. She was named your champion heavyweight market heifer. She's going to quickly walk around, and we are going to move into the selection of your champion and reserve champion market heifer. In our junior market cattle show side of the ring, we are now ready to select your champion and reserve champion market heifer. Your champion lightweight is being exhibited by Cheyenne Bulliard. This heifer is weighing in at 1,095 pounds. Your middleweight division champion is exhibited by KILE Lippert and weighs in at 1250. And your heavyweight market heifer is exhibited by Sydney Skinner and weighing in at 1,325 pounds. We would also like to announce that Hunter Brocious is in the ring with his second place in contention for reserve. Attention to all junior market exhibitors. Please do not forget the carcass contest sonogram is happening right out in the entryway. All farm show preview, market heifers, and market steer exhibitors are eligible for the sonogram program. First place pays at $500, second place pays for $250. So roll your animal in there and have them sonogrammed for a chance at that premium.
Okay, over here in our Highland show, I'll tell you, I've not had the opportunity to judge a Highland show, actually. Before, out in California, you always, every once in a while, judging a county fair, will see one, but you don't have the opportunity to see any numbers. There is one place near the Tamales Bay that has 70 or 80 Highland cows on a centennial farm that I don't know that they show any of them, but those are the best Highland herd I've seen, certainly out our way, and those kind of numbers. Really got to appreciate a lot of things about these cattle, and one of the things is structural soundness. I think in general the breed's known for that. In this particular lineup, I think it's pretty logical for me to pick out our champion bull, so I'm going to go ahead and select our oldest bull to be champion, and I'll congratulate your reserve as well.
I think a really, really nice division here when we get into our market heifer championship, and you know, I really like all these heifers in their own right, but there is some differences when we get into here, and we start with a heifer that won the first class. You know, she's probably a heifer that blurs the lines a little bit. You know, is she as terminal as some of the other heifers out here? Probably not, but I think one that you look at, you know, maybe a potential donor on a steer deal down the road. I mean, she's so well built. She gives you a great look. She's super sound, really good in her underline, you know, and she's stout and wide based, maybe just not quite as terminal as some when you get into market heifer. Get into the heifer that won the second class. She's like 1250, really nice market weight, lots of muscle shape to her. She's really explosive in through that muscle. She handles really well. Then we get into the heifer that won the third class. She is the heaviest degree of muscle of any heifer in this class, yet when you handle her, she really handles really well from a cover perspective. She's really long-sided. If you talk about a market weight, she's like 1326, so she's probably a little more industry relevant, to be honest, for a market weight that we send. But I think some really, really good heifers, but there's definitely some differences out here, and you can really appreciate that.
Congratulations to your champion market heifer, who was exhibited out of our heavyweight division by Sydney Skinner, and your reserve came out of our lightweight division and was exhibited by Cheyenne Bolliard. We'll see them again at the end of the show when we pick our supreme overall market animal. We're going to take a quick picture here of our champion and reserve divisions. No, we're just going to keep rolling. Okay, sorry about that. We're going right into market steers. Your first market steer class consists of 4 head weighing in between 985 and 905.